Fox 28. At 10, get the facts right.
New at 10, the Humboldt County Sheriff's Office is investigating the contents of a phone that was found last week in southern Humboldt. Content the woman who found it says shows underage girls as well as women being recorded without their knowledge. Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight for North Coast News. KBVU Fox 28 News at 10. I'm Lindsay Hausman. Michelle Vandenack lives in southern Humboldt County, and she told me earlier tonight that she found a cell phone on Thursday near the Eel River in Garberville. When she found it, it was covered in mud, and she thought that she'd turn it on and find out who it belonged to. After putting the SD card into her computer, she says she found photos from a wedding and then a family vacation. She said there were more than 700 videos in all, and once she started clicking through those videos, she couldn't believe what she saw. Vandenack said she first saw a woman's breasts being recorded without her knowledge in Redway, and then another woman at a local store. This was video of her privates, either up a skirt or a dress. Vandenack said in the videos, a man would introduce himself as David Nunes. He'd say he was from China Creek, which is near Shelter Cove, and that he was originally from the Bay Area. She said there were a lot of photos of the same man on the phone, of this man you see on your screen. We did find that man that we just showed you on Facebook, and his page said that he was from the Bay Area. However, from what we could see, he hadn't been active since September. Meantime, Vandenack said that she recognized some of the women, and some of them were underage girls. The phone, as well as the SD card, have been turned over to the sheriff's office. Tonight, the undersheriff, William Hansel, told me that the Criminal Investigations Bureau is working with Sergeant Jesse Taylor on the case. Of course, we're going to keep you up to date with any new developments on this story. Meantime, another big story tonight. Several hundred turned out for an emergency community meeting that was held in Hoopa. Hoopa Valley Tribal Chairman Ryan Jackson called that meeting. It's following the recent criminal activity. Many of the tribal members say they just don't feel safe in their community. They express frustration over the lack of response from the Humboldt County Sheriff's Office within their community. Those who live within the Hoopa Valley want to see tribal police reinstated. There's still negotiations being made between the tribe and the Humboldt County Sheriff's Office. And right now, the community says something needs to be done and done now, and decisions need to be made so people don't continue to get caught up in the crime in the valley.
It seems to be taking a long time, and we talked about time frames. And in the meantime, when they're negotiating, people are dying here. People are hurting. So we need to expedite the process, whatever we need to do. Like I mentioned at the beginning, it's a state of emergency here due to things that have been occurring recently.
Hoopa Valley Tribal Chairman Ryan Jackson is hoping that an agreement regarding tribal police will come within the next month. This agreement deals with the Humboldt County Sheriff's Office. The hope is that that will make the area a safer place. Meantime, the Humboldt County Sheriff's Office is holding public meetings in eastern Humboldt both this Thursday and next Thursday. The public is invited to attend those meetings and express any of their concerns. Governor Jerry Brown recently announced his support for the Public Safety and Rehabilitation Act of 2016. In a nutshell, it's an initiative that would help to reduce the population sizes in state prisons, focus on public safety, as well as improve rehabilitation for inmates. At a local level, those in the criminal justice process aren't so sure that the proposal is a great idea, and it might mean more repeat offenders on the streets. North Coast News, KBVU Fox 28's Symphony Sherman explains.
The Public Safety and Rehabilitation Act of 2016 is already making waves around the North Coast. The initiative, backed by Governor Jerry Brown, is intended to reduce wasteful spending at state prisons. That includes reducing the population sizes within them since they're beginning to reach maximum capacity again. This is one of many initiatives that have been pushed through to reduce population size at California state prisons. Assembly Bill 109 and Proposition 47 are two others. However, the results from those two have stopped.
Right now, after AB 109 and Prop 47, the decreases that were experienced under those two sentencing changes or legislative changes have now faded, and now sentencings to prison are starting to pick back up.
The proposal would give anyone convicted of a non-violent felony and sentenced to prison parole consideration, but only after they've completed the full term for their primary offense in which they were sentenced. This means the three-strike rule becomes null and void. The proposal is meant to rehabilitate inmates, awarding those with good behavior as well as doing things to better themselves while incarcerated, like education and work programs. When these early releases happen, a flood of former prisoners go back to the counties they were sentenced in. And county officials say that a lot of people have trouble adjusting from prison life to normal life.
I think that the move toward more rehabilitative programming and trying to get offenders to reduce their likelihood to reoffend is a good idea. It's exactly what we do already at the local level.
Those who work within the public safety and correctional field within the county say these efforts may not always be effective. And even though this initiative is intended to increase public safety, there's worry it may have the opposite effect.
The fear in the community that I would think would be, absent that rehabilitation, they're going to go out into the community and commit the same kind of crimes that got them sent to prison initially, which impacts the community negatively, and then in turn will impact us negatively because they will then get rearrested.
The initiative also targets juveniles and whether or not they can be tried as adults. Currently, that decision is left up to the district attorney within each county. However, this proposal would change the decision-making process. The decision would then lie with a judge rather than a district attorney. Reporting in Humboldt County, Symphony Sherman, North Coast News, KBBU, Fox 28.
Humboldt County District Attorney Maggie Fleming says the proposal leaves the door open for possibilities of people who have violent or serious felonies to be granted early parole. And she says that will result in increased crime and more work for district attorney offices. This initiative will be on the ballot November of this year. And new details tonight regarding that high-speed chase that we first told you about last night. Humboldt County deputies arrested 24-year-old Gary Morris for a slew of charges to include resisting arrest, driving in excess of 65 miles per hour, and DUI. Deputies say Morris passed a deputy shortly before 11 last night on Highway 101 near Clam Beach. He was driving about 74 miles per hour. Deputies say that they tried to pull him over earlier on in the night, and when they finally did stop him, it was off of Parading Street in McKinleyville. Deputies say Morris resisted arrest and was threatening deputies. Also, new at 10. Eureka police arrested 3 people today after finding a large amount of drugs and a gun in a motel room. Police say Charles Gay was arrested for maintaining a drug house, possession charges, as well as being a felon with a firearm. Amber Younger was also arrested for maintaining a drug house and possession of a controlled substance, and Eugene LaFoon arrested for outstanding drug and theft-related warrants. APD's problem-oriented policing unit searched a motel room in the 2400 block of Broadway shortly before 10 this morning. That's when they found the 3, as well as 127 grams of heroin, 21 grams of meth, and marijuana. Detectives say they also found a handgun that belonged to Gay, as well as a key to another hotel room and a receipt for a storage unit. At that storage unit on West Clark Street, police found nearly 5 pounds of marijuana, trimming equipment, and a scale. It's been 4 months since Shannon House went missing in Trinity County. Ever since that day, his family has never stopped looking for him, and they continue to ask for your help to help find him. This is who Shannon House is. He's a 39-year-old man. He was last seen on October the 11th, about 17 miles southeast of the Ketten Palm store on Covelo Road. Since that day, his family has sent out a tracker, search parties, flyers, and more. Each time, they come up empty-handed. There has been one call of a sighting of House. That was in Oregon, however, it could not be confirmed. His mother is desperate to find him and says she will not stop looking for him until she finds him.
You wake up with it and you go to sleep with it, and there's not a moment that I don't think about it or wonder where he is or if he's okay, or just want him found.
His family has recently bought a drone to get video of places that's just too hard for a person to get to. The plan is to send that out with another search party within the coming weeks. His family is also looking to possibly offer a reward. If you know anything about Shannon House's disappearance, do contact the Trinity County Sheriff's Office. And the Eureka City Council passed unanimously the deal to put paid advertising on public park fences within the city of Eureka. The proposal is intended to help offset the city's general fund. Now, over the last few years, the budget has continued to endure cuts. This has affected the city's police, fire, and parks and recreation departments. So staff with the city of Eureka said the paid advertising on public parks will raise money for the departments that have been hit by the cuts. The advertisements would be for businesses, nonprofits, and others interested. Of course, the city had to approve it and did so.
It's beneficial because hopefully this will get us to the point where we're no longer having cuts. I think that since I've worked for the city in the past 10 years, I think that there's been cuts 7 of those 10 years, and over the past couple of years those cuts have been a little bit more significant. And so this will help in order to offset the general fund and hopefully keep the general fund in good condition.
The advertisements would not be available on every public park within the city. They would be on the exterior of Carson Park, Highland Park, as well as at the intersection of Walnut and Hemlock. They'll also be available on the interior of every baseball field within the city. Well, if you're looking for a job in Eureka but aren't sure where to start, there is a program that can help. The City of Eureka and the Betty Quan Jin Day Center offering the Pathways to Payday program. The program is a series of free job workshops that help people learn how to apply for a job. Representatives from local businesses will be on hand to give advice. Betty Chin says the workshops will be a big help for anyone looking for work.
We do have a lot of jobs in here, but they just don't know how to get it. So this workshop may help them find a job is the most stable in their life.
The workshops are open to anyone and will be held at the Day Center on C Street. The first workshop will be on February the 25th. A new business opened its doors in Rio Dell today, and we were there. Coming up on North Coast News, KBVU Fox 28, we'll show you the inside of Humboldt Harvest Coffee and Treats. And President Obama has strong words for Republicans about replacing Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia, who died over the weekend. The Supreme Court Justice appointment dispute we have straight ahead. Plus, cold, wet weather is on the way, and it's supposed to include strong winds. Chief Meteorologist Mike Kruger will fill you in after the break. But first, we want to know what's happening in your communities across the North Coast. You can share tips, pictures, and even video with us by emailing the newsroom, checking us out on Facebook and on Twitter. Stay with us. We'll be right back. An old Coast Guard boat with local history is in the process of getting a facelift. This wooden motor lifeboat was used during World War II. The boat rescued more than 50 crew members from a tanker that was torpedoed by a Japanese submarine. It was also used during a rescue off of Cape Mendocino in 1941. The Coast Guard is working on restoring the boat's hull and will also give it a new paint job. The hope is to showcase this boat and its history.
I just hope that they'll get a passion for the history of the Coast Guard. You know, they come see these boats, which are, again, the first generation of motor lifeboat, and they say, wow, these guys operated this thing in the surf, and then they can come see what we have now.
The Coast Guard says team members have taken on the project at the Samoa Motor Lifeboat Station, and the boat is expected to be fully restored in July. And remember the Vagabus that's been traveling the North Coast volunteering in our community? Well, the group got a new bus. It's thanks to the donation of a community member. The need for the new bus came after someone tagged the original bus. The coordinator of the group says this new bus will help them out because it's larger, and they'll be able to continue spreading their message of community service.
I guess the project is just kind of starting to speak for itself. I think people are really seeing that we're not here to party, that we're here to volunteer. You know, we've already done 12 or 13 volunteer gigs here in Arcata.
The group plans to stay in Arcata through the end of the week, and then the group's goal is to perform community service as they travel down the West Coast to Argentina. And the city of Rio Dell welcomed a new business into the community. The new coffee shop, Humboldt Harvest Coffee and Treats, held its grand opening today. It's the second coffee shop there in Rio Dell. The owner says she saw an opportunity for potential business and hopes that with her new business opening, it'll encourage others to do so within Rio Dell.
I think business attracts business, and now that we're open, hopefully it'll encourage other people to open establishments here as well.
Now, that business had its soft opening last week, and right now the owner says that they're just going to focus on making sure their drinks are perfect. Meantime, a new study suggests eating fish more than 3 times a week during pregnancy could be associated with an increased risk of childhood obesity. Data that was analyzed from 26,184 pregnant women and their children spanning 11 countries was studied, and the study found that pregnant women who ate fish more than 3 times per week gave birth to children with higher BMI values compared to women who ate fish less. Now, the study also found the effect of fish intake was greater in girls than boys. The Food and Drug Administration and the Environmental Protection Agency do recommend that pregnant women should eat fish, but no more than 2 to 3 servings per week. Stay with us. We'll be back.